Stories, think of a movie that you are seeing for next 10 to 15 minutes. After so much of technical depth that we went into, let us zoom out a little bit and enjoy this story. Data has always been there for AI. This is a story with a slight twist. So fasten your seatbelt, guys. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and be attentive because we'll ask for takeaways. Okay. So this is a story about data and AI, a partnership spanning decades. Last 15 years witnessed rapid advancements in how we harness data and cloud technology, storage, compute, etc., promising business value that was only theory before. In last 3 to 5 years, though, AI has seen many advancements. Transformers to LLMs to generative AI, ML to automation to agentic AI. Data has been the oil for ages for AI. But with all the recent advancements, can AI now help data with the many challenges it faces? Let the story unfold in their latest chapter, AI for Data, in the banking landscape, with Radhika as data and Ashwini as AI in this duologue. Radhika?
Well, nice to meet you, AI. Look, every CEO, every analytics head always want a piece of me. Real-time dashboards, unstructured data, new columns. The wish list is like endless, right? But I need a breather too. I'm constantly sorting, correcting, cleaning, making the data trustworthy and available for all. You have superpowers. I have served you for years. What do you have for me now?
Sure AI. Sure data. I can help you. I have matured over years. I have now powers of data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, agentic AI. I can now transform processes and reimagine processes. Data management and platforms is another process. Tell me the help you need. I'm right here, my friend.
Sounds exciting. Now let's start with the specifics. Look, here's my day. Let me start with the unstructured data. I am drowning in piles of emails, chat, tweets, etc. And those legacy systems and the databases, they're fighting retirement. They are not even giving us those secrets, right? And the real-time requests. Imagine a customer asking for a loan approval when ordering coffee. Can you help me unclogging all these chaos and, bring that speed that the customer dreams of?
Sure, I can. You talked about unstructured data. I work on it like a charm. Let's talk about Gen AI-based data extraction. If you know what is the information, the metric, the KPI that you're looking for, I can figure it out in multimodal sources like documents, text, even videos and images. I can extract them. I can summarize documents into underwriting forms for fields that you need for you to automate your underwriting processes. And not just that, we heard about humans being important. We can understand intent, sentiments from voice and text at unprecedented scale now. So yeah, unstructured data, bring it on. The next point on legacy systems, I knew that was coming and I was preparing for it. It's WIP, but with human in loop, trust me, Gen AI enabled code conversions can achieve up to 70 to 80% efficiency. And I can do those conversions in a responsible manner only if I have humans in the loop. But I can then, promise that migrations will not take months anymore. It's about weeks, my friend. And not the least is the real-time data streaming use case that we talked about. That is really connecting some of our ingestion to real use cases. I can extract information and make it available at point of consumption at scale now, and do it in a manner where pipelines don't have latency anymore. because I can do batch optimizations and resource scaling with proactive error handling at scale. I hope that helps.
It helps. Now let's come to the next part, which you touched upon, the data processing and pipeline building. And I have to keep these things running 24/7. And this is not a one-man army. We have a bunch of data architects, we have engineers, we have data ops, we have data stewards, working in tandem. When we are collaborating, it's like a symphony music. But life is not a music, right? So there are prone to errors, there are crashes, pipeline goes haywire. So monitoring is like a 24/7 full-time job. How can you help me, managing, streamlining all these and, catching errors up front and, doing all these like 24/7?
I was not prepared for the symphony part. But let me tell you, with generative AI and AI working in, unison, I can now have chatbots that can sit on top of ITSM tools, on Jira, Confluence, and help some of the stakeholders that we talked about, like AI engineers, data ops, data stewards, etc., and architects, collaborate in real time. And I'll take care of the, grounds up work on updating Jira, getting information from Confluence and all of that. And the three things that I would want to focus on about pipelines is I can now generate codes and generate pipelines, optimize pipelines, and also manage for errors in the pipeline. GenAI-based code generation, like I talked about, with the likes of, Claude coming up, can understand spec docs. You can break down its components. I can generate development code, generate test scenarios, and actually execute those tests. And with keeping the human in the loop, making sure that I'm not flipping along the way, I can get you 70 to 80% in not just code conversions, but from scratch code generation as well.
Great.
Yeah. And I can then optimize pipelines in real time as well, generating infrastructure as a code, automating CI/CD pipelines on the fly, ensure that I am maintaining delivery excellence. But if I could just generate and optimize but not maintain it for errors, it doesn't help, right? So I could actually look at logs of those pipelines, predict errors based on analysis of those logs, based on GenAI, extracting information, based on traditional ML and AI, being able to detect for errors, right? And I can automate first line of support for you so that all the grunt work is done and you can provide support with humans as L2 and L3 support, and not just maintaining pipelines. I actually take care of data quality in those pipelines too.
But listen up, AI. Data governance is not just about keeping data clean and correct. Data governance is a whole big universe, right? I am talking about data cataloging. I am talking about tracing lineage like a Sherlock Holmes. I'm talking about compliance rules. I'm talking about taking care of data like a Fort Knox. Right? It's a whole gamut. And the data management part has also, leveled up with, a lot of modern data platforms like Databricks. We have Snowflakes. We have a lot of cloud platforms. They offer unique approaches to manage a lot of facets, right? So we have to manage the privacy. We have to spot the threats and ensure compliance throughout the audits. How can you help me?
Sure. I was so eager that answer was almost popping up before you finished. I could help with the data quality and data governance bit for sure, because how good is the data if it's not governed? I'll not go into details because I think Bhavani and Vijay sort of covered it. But yeah, let me make some of those bullets in here, right? I could now do cataloging in days, and it will not take you months. I'm talking about banks. We both have worked for banks, and banks take ages and ages just to catalog data. I can now detect anomalies, duplicates, missing values, and make sure that data is of the right quality, and then catalog it, generate the metadata, create the lineage, and make sure there is traceability. And I can then export it to platforms like Databricks, Snowflake that we talked about. Understanding policies, super important. With GenAI, I can understand policies and what's important in those policies. I can then use that understanding to understand patterns in data and classify what is sensitive data, what is PII, and make sure that I manage the transparency to the extent that is required by rules. It can also spot for threats and detect them, and then make sure that the right alarms are created. Through a continuous monitoring pipeline, I manage real-time data quality for correctness, completeness, accuracy, and so on, to make sure that there is proactive governance, not just at the cataloging stage, but through the lineage, maintaining for compliance and protection, helping data stewards along the way. I think the pipelines are coming to life, data. The mic's gone off live.
Hello? Yeah. It is, definitely. Let me bring you to a very interesting area now, AI. That is a data discovery and access management. Every business user, analyst, or the super smart data scientist, everybody wants answers just like that, right? In the fingertips. But life is not a free buffet. It comes with its own rules and regulations. So we need to have controlled access. We need to ensure, the data reaches the right people, the right data reaches the right people. We need to ensure those policy managements are in place, right? So how can you ensure all these? I want you to give, all these in style and not just as a checklist, right? But at the same time, give the users the power and the control of the data, but I will hold the master key.
Mm-hmm. So you want the users to come into play now. I love this. The users want to discover data, and AI really helps laying a strong foundation. You now have AI-powered data cataloging that I talked about in our earlier discussion. I can generate metadata and labels automatically. I can create business glossaries automatically. If I have catalog data and business glossaries, all of that in the backend, then the users can easily discover data, and not just discover data. They can actually understand relationships between the data as well that I can make available without them having to do all the data profiling, etc., etc. And then you can create a semantic model on top of it, where the catalog data is actually connected. So the users can then do natural language-based data discovery, across all data assets, making explorations almost seamless. And doing that, keeping the key in your hands, making sure that all the controls are understood, and I adapt to based on the users that are actually playing with the data. We are getting there.
We are getting there, definitely. Now comes the tricky part, right? That is the use cases, the real deal we are talking about. Users are coming up with new KPIs, new dashboards, they want insights, not just on screen, they want these things woven into the decisions. They want to understand the story behind the numbers, the context, the meaning, and they want to take actions. How can you help?
Yeah.
We want to make that data pop, right?
I will, because only when it pops, you see the impact. Think of an AI chatbot making available all the insights on top of the data that we, now produce. Think of a conversational interface that sits on top of that data, that has contextual understanding of your domain and your organization. And the LLMs can then interpret schemas and the data and the tables and the columns and understand your question in the context and respond back with the KPIs, and not just the KPIs and the metrics, but actual insights about what the trends look like and what is the action that you should be taking next. Not just that. I connect the front end to the back end. I connect AI ops to data ops. Sometimes KPI anomalies may not be business anomalies, they may be data anomalies, and that needs to be fed back. I do that too. So I'm creating an AI and data connected ecosystem. I think
Sounds amazing.
We are connecting both.
Sounds amazing, AI. Now look at us. We have come a long way. There are so many ways we can collaborate, right? From data ingestion to the data governance, pipeline building, dashboarding, too many ways. But you know what? It doesn't happen in a smooth flow, right? We have to have data architects create the architecture. We have to have sign-offs and the security checklists from lot of departments like ARB, security, privacy. We have to ensure everything is signed off. We have to run by the book to produce that data magic, right? But if we are smart, we can make it faster and smoother, and we will not let that innovation stall because of those endless loop of security approvals. Does it make sense, AI?
It does. We have to make sure that everything is aligned and architecture is set up for success. But next time you're on that data journey, the 5-step process we talked about, don't forget the use cases I talked about data.
I will not, definitely. Look, now AI has a lot of things to offer in this friendship with data, right? So many use cases we have spoken about and many things you have to offer. It is not one-way traffic now. It is like both ways. So AI is collaborating with data and closing that loop, clearing all the chaos and building trust and creating those systems of the future.
Yeah. The future you talked about is here and now. The friendship between data and AI has evolved from a one-way relationship into a powerful partnership. AI no longer just consumes data, it actively governs, discovers, and operationalizes it. Banks and organizations in general are ready to embrace this transformation. The opportunity is extraordinary. The question is no longer if AI can help data, but how efficiently can we harness this partnership, the partnership between data. Thank you.
Thank you.